the Vice President of the United States, and on behalf of President Donald Trump and all the American people, let me express the unwavering support of the United States as you, the people of Venezuela, raise your voices in a call for freedom. Nicolas Maduro is a dictator with no legitimate claim to power. He's never won the presidency in a free and fair election, and he's maintained his grip of power by imprisoning anyone who dares to oppose him. The United States joins with all freedom-loving nations in recognizing the National Assembly as the last vestige of democracy in your country, for it's the only body elected by you, the people. As such, the United States supports the courageous decision by Juan Guaido, the President of your National Assembly, to assert that body's constitutional powers, declare Maduro a usurper, and call for the establishment of a transitional government. As you make your voices heard tomorrow, on behalf of the American people, we say to all the good people of Venezuela, estamos con ustedes. We are with you. We stand with you. And we will stay with you until democracy is restored and you reclaim your birthright of libertad. Muchas gracias y vayan con Dios.
This is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And we know who that wicked is, as pursuant to Malachi 1:4, the border of wickedness, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, whom the earth has been given into the hands of, in Job 9:24. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Barakatham. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Raya with another video. And these Edomites, especially these American Edomites, don't care about democracy or liberty for the people. All they care about is control and taking whatever resources they need from a particular country. And they'll do it by any means possible. They started with the financial war in Venezuela to break the country, and now they're moving on to a attempted regime change where they're going to try to foment civil unrest between the people to get them to go against Nicolas Maduro and overthrow him so they can set up their puppet government who will follow U.S. dictates and allow the U.S. to rape Venezuela of its resources. And the U.S. is also not happy that Venezuela is having a continual relationship with Russia. But this is an article on RT.com titled, Trump's move on Venezuela is setting off possible civil war in oil-rich country, WikiLeaks warns. And civil wars and civil unrest are the MO of the United States. Just look at the Ukraine and Syria. The U.S. president's decision to recognize Venezuelan opposition leader and U.S. puppet Juan Guaido is the country's interim president may set off a possible civil war in the oil-rich nation, WikiLeaks has warned. Donald Trump's move on recognizing Guaido as the interim president of Venezuela might prove disastrous for the country, which has endured years of instability, and spark an open, full-blown conflict, the whistleblowing organization WikiLeaks tweeted. It could possibly lead to a civil war in the country with the largest proven oil reserves. Ding, 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 it said. Earlier on Wednesday, Trump made a statement berating Nicolas Maduro's government as an illegitimate regime. Today, I am officially recognizing the president of the Venezuelan National Assembly, Juan Guaido, as the interim president of Venezuela, he said. Top U.S. officials have thrown their weight behind Guaido over the past few weeks, openly expressing support to him and urging President Maduro to step down while calling upon the Venezuelan military to support the efforts to restore democracy in the country. The U.S.-backed Guaido, who leads the anti-Maduro protests, has declared himself interim president. Venezuela has been hit by economic and social crises over the past few years, worsened by a decline in oil prices and pressure from the U.S., chiefly that pressure from the U.S. While Maduro's opponents blame the situation on the alleged incompetent actions of the socialist government, it claims that the discontent has been deliberately stirred by the U.S. and other foreign powers. This is Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. The wicked are estranged from the womb, that go forth speaking lies as soon as they be born. But the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, also, because he transgresseth by wine, and that wine is referring to his philosophies, such as democracy and liberty for the people. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Go into a country that has resources the U.S. wants, foment civil unrest to overthrow the democratically elected government, set up that puppet that'll follow U.S. dictates, and allow the U.S. to enlarge its desires by stealing that country's resources, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? To him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And people like Nicolas Maduro understand what the United States did to Central and South America during the 20th century. Just look at that book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. The U.S. would go to these countries to try to do business with those countries which unfairly benefited the U.S. And when those leaders of those countries didn't want to play ball, the U.S. would overthrow those sovereign leaders and set up puppets who would do business with the U.S. by allowing U.S. businesses to build that country's infrastructure up. And since those countries' currency wasn't as strong as the U.S. dollar, they couldn't pay back those U.S. companies, and therefore, in turn, became in debt to the U.S., becoming vassal states, which a lot are still paying back that debt that they accrued in the past. And when you look up that word clay, it means debt or pledges. And these nations around the world are becoming hip to Esau's game. As it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Let the weak say, I am strong. Another article on RT. Venezuela breaking diplomatic relations with U.S. after its attempt to stage coup. President Maduro. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro said Caracas is breaking off diplomatic relations with the U.S., giving American diplomats 72 hours to leave the country after Donald Trump recognized the opposition leader as interim head. Maduro announced the move to a large crowd of cheering supporters from a balcony of the presidential Miraflores Palace in Caracas shortly after the U.S. and then several Latin American countries decided to recognize the opposition leader, Juan Guaido, as Venezuela's interim president. And Nicolas Maduro's got support from the people as well as the military in this other article on RT. Venezuelan army disavows self-proclaimed leader and U.S. puppet. Will defend national sovereignty, says defense minister. The Venezuelan military will not accept a president imposed by dark interests, Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino said after Washington and a number of its allies recognized a lawmaker as the new leader in Caracas. The army will continue to defend the Constitution and national sovereignty, Padrino said on Wednesday afternoon, hours after opposition lawmaker Juan Guaido was proclaimed interim president by the National Assembly in a direct challenge to President Nicolas Maduro.